The United Nations has issued urgent appeals to the Nigerian and Kenyan governments respectively, demanding immediate stoppage of any torture or violation of rights committed against the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are the top 10 stories now. At number 10, a former secretary to the government of the Federation, Pius Ayim, has spent a second night in the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Abuja, where he was being held since Sunday afternoon in connection with the ongoing probe of a former Minister of Aviation, Senator Stella Odua. Ayim responded to an invitation from the Anti-Graft Agency in respect of a 780 million naira Aviation Ministries fund. The former Senate President was grilled on Sunday for several hours in connection with the fund, which was traced to a company in which he was a director. It was gathered that the 60-year-old was again interrogated on Monday on how the ministry's fund found its way into his company's account and his relationship with Odua. At number 9, the police command in Ekiti State said it rescued 5 commuters abducted by suspected bandits on Ayedun Ilasa Ayebode Road in Okele local government area of the state on Monday. The rescue was confirmed to journalists by the command's public relations officer, Sunday Abutu, in Ado-Ekiti. The victims, who were kidnapped on Thursday from various locations in Ilasha and Ayebode during coordinated attacks by bandits terrorizing the axis in recent times, were released on Sunday. It was unclear if any ransom was paid before the 5 victims were released. At number 8, President Muhammadu Buhari has said that his administration is working to lift 35 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 4 years. Buhari stated that the broad objectives of the new medium-term National Development Plan would be to diversify the economy, invest in critical infrastructure, build human capital, and improve governance and security. This was contained in a statement released on Monday by Laolu Akonde, the media aide to Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. According to the statement, Buhari pointed out that the intention was to achieve broad-based and inclusive GDP growth to create 21 million jobs and lift 35 million people out of poverty by 2025. At number 7, the governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, has expressed optimism that he will take over power from President Muhammadu Buhari in 2023. Speaking on Monday while featuring on Arise TV, the governor said he has all the qualities to succeed as president, stating he has fixed Kogi since he took over. Bello said, "By the grace of God, when I would have been sworn in as the president and commander-in-chief taking over from Buhari on May 29, 2023, Nigeria will have a heave of relief." At number 6, the federal government has said there will be no presidential pardons for prison inmates convicted of rape in Lagos State. The Nigeria Correctional Service Controller in Lagos, Francis Adebisi, who spoke on Tuesday, said inmates involved in defilement of minors and other rape cases would not be considered for a presidential pardon. Adebisi confirmed that the Presidential Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy had started assessing inmates in Lagos for freedom under the Prerogative of Mercy of the President. However, he said inmates involved in rape cases, especially the defilement of minors, would not benefit from such pardon, hence they were excluded from the assessment. At number 5, former South Korean President Roh Tae-woo has died at the age of 88. The former president's death was confirmed by his aides, who said that Roh was recently admitted to hospital after his health deteriorated. Roh, a former general, served as president from 1988 to 1993 after succeeding former President Chun Doo-yeon. At number 4, the International Committee of the Red Cross says it has registered more than 20,000 cases of missing persons as a result of non-state armed group conflicts in Nigeria's northeast. ICRC field officer in Maiduguri, Usman Kunduli Bukar, revealed this during a 2-day workshop themed Humanitarian Reporting Workshop in Maiduguri on Tuesday. Bukar said the northeast conflict is more gruesome more than what we think. Thousands have lost their fathers, sons and children. Many families are working for their relations. Women are going through a lot of issues of depression due to missing their children. We have registered more than 20,000 cases of missing persons in the northeast. They have either been killed or missing. We have registered 4,000 cases of such in Bama local government area, Borno State alone. At number 3, the federal government says it will take care of petrol subsidy in the first 6 months of 2022. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, said this at a panel session during the ongoing Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja. Ahmed stated that the federal government had made provision for petrol subsidy till the end of June next year, adding that complete deregulation of the downstream oil and gas sector will start by July 2022. At number 2, the Independent National Electoral Commission has denied the purported mass resignation of its ad hoc officials, saying it has adequate manpower for the conduct of the November 6th governorship election in Anambra State. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Anambra State, Nwachukwu Orji, made the clarification on Tuesday in Awka. Orji, who was reacting to viral media reports that hundreds of ad hoc workers recruited for the Anambra election resigned en masse, said there was no truth in the publication. He added that none of the recruited ad hoc workers had been given engagement letter. Finally, at number 1, the United Nations has issued urgent appeals to the Nigerian and Kenyan governments respectively, demanding immediate stoppage of any torture or violation of rights committed against the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. The UN also warned of serious consequences if the allegations of torture and violation of fundamental human rights against the IPOB leader were confirmed. The UN statement is coming after Kanu's brother, Kanunta Kanu, and his special counsel, Mr. Aloy Ejimako, petitioned the United Nations. The statement, made available to newsmen on Tuesday, read in part. In particular, the said urgent appeals state in part that the United Nations is alarmed by the alleged torture and ill treatment Mr. Kanu has been subjected to during his illegal custody in Kenya. Always remember to wear your mask, wash your hands, and stay safe. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.